It brings us back to all this talk about panel, the legality behind some of these panel. I remember at that time we had the issue with the president and the vice president during the Obasanjo administration himself and Alhaji Atiku, and we talked about this white paper report on him and all that. Now, I think we're having a semblance of that again, because if you're saying that he shouldn't have withdrawn that particular affidavit he sworn, which should have gone to the law courts, would that have given it more bite and legality than this panel and committees set up to look into the issue?
Definitely, because this is the only way we can enrich our jurisprudence. You know, you have to. It is the court that decides and make decisions and give judgments, not administrative panels. You know,
not even judicial panels.
Yes, not even the judicial panels. This is a fact-finding. In fact, it's an investigating panel. And you know what perplexes me is that in the first place, I just found out that there were 3 panels. You know, there was the Bolarimwa panel.
Okay.
You know, you can call that one a panel of first instance, and these other ones are non-appellate panels. You know, outer panel. Then after finding, of course, if you look at their terms of reference, apparently they were not told to reach after reaching a decision to, you know, mete out punishment. So then it constituted the outer panel.
In all of this crisis and conflict, what exactly is your greatest worry, especially for the judiciary?
Yeah, my greatest worry is, you know, because each time this kind of thing happens, people, some of my friends who are not lawyers, you know, they derisively call me and say, what is happening, you know? Because you see, the judge who holds the office is a very solemn office. To me, is more important. The office of a judge is more important than the office of a president, for the simple reason that it is from this place that justice is, you know, dispensed. Now, if you begin to act or conduct yourself in a manner that shows that there are other things that are taken into consideration before justice is given, then it erodes the confidence we have in the judiciary. Most people will prefer to go to mobs to get justice. One, it is quicker, and they appear to be fairer, you know, when they give judgment than what we are seeing in the courts now.
That's going to be disastrous.
That is my problem.
Do you think that the judiciary will be able to rise above this?
Yes, it's good that these things are happening, you know, when you look at it from the other way, because I think the institution, because we don't have strong institutions here in the country, you know, not just the judiciary, I mean in all strata of the society, but I think the judiciary need to self-implode, you know, expose themselves. They rot in the society. It's not today we started hearing about corruption and all those things. Now, you see one aspect of the decision that I'm angry with is the panel now found this man guilty of perjury. They even said they found out as a fact that there was a conviviality between him and some political chieftains, but it did not affect the judgments in Ekiti and others. And I said that the man lied under oath. You're not a judge. That was just an ordinary administrative panel. Perjury is a crime. So and for that reason they say you should apologize. That apology is also a punishment.
Do they have the powers to do that?
No, we could say, somebody can tell you, an administrative panel, you know, can say, okay, apologize.
What would be the implication
if it doesn't?
If you apologize?
No, if you apologize, that means you're apologizing based on the fact you have admitted, you know, simply that actually lied on oath.
Some people actually said that it's possible that if he had done that apology, he could now be sued based on that apology. Did you ever see that happen?
It's possible, but I don't see them going that way. What they actually wanted to set out was, you know, these things they started by trying to reconcile the parties. You know, when issues as grave as this comes, you don't talk about reconciliation. Somebody is saying, a high judicial officer called me to his office in the presence of the most senior judicial officer again and asked me to disband this panel. It is not done. He has no jurisdiction to do that, even as the head of judiciary.
This is quite strange because, you know, you just mentioned issues like this, but again, it takes us to the golden era of the judiciary. Once upon a time, we had the F.R.A. Williams, the Basharu
Oputas,
yes, and the others. You never get to see them talk. You never get to hear them speak on any issue whatsoever. But again, how come did we get to the state that virtually everyone is speaking on so many issues and trying to demystify that particular institution that we thought was high up there, that can actually give us some kind of succor in every sphere of our life?
Yeah, I think we all should be concerned, lawyers and non-lawyers alike, because the era you mentioned, actually, you could see that the difference is all about character. Those men have character. Even if you have not met them personally, you go through their judgments, you know, you see how they evaluate their judgments, the reasonings behind it. You don't just write judgments. There has to be reasoning. And now I'm asking, the president, even his statement and on appointing the acting PCA was also self-contradictory. He said, we are appointing this man pending the resolution of all the issues. So you accepted there were issues, and this matter is already before the court. And for goodness sake, the plethora of authorities, once a matter is before the court, whether you've been served or not, you are aware of it. You cannot do anything, that would suggest to first, now this matter is before the court. You've already taken a decision. So what do you want the court to do when the matter comes before it? That's my fear for Salami. Is no matter how he fights, the damage has already been done, not only to his person but to his office. The humiliation, the psychological torture, and all those. I heard at a point in time his security was also withdrawn, but I think they said the IGP intervened
in his area, his house. But the thing about all of this now is that now that it's all out there in the court of public opinion, everybody seems to have an opinion, or most people seem to have an opinion on this matter. Is there any way they can remedy the way things are going?
No, it's already too late. It's before the court, so we should allow the court. I just hope the courts will also be polarized, because the matter is before the judge now for mention. It's not even just coming for trial. It's coming for mention. So they'll now come and take a very long date, maybe 1 month. They will now they'll bring frivolous applications from the other side. You don't have local standard, blah, blah. By the time you know it, 2 years after.
And that's the fear there, because, sorry, Chamberlain, because now the CJN retires in a couple of days now. Today is just the 24th of August. So in, let's say, less than 72 hours, maybe his retirement comes into effect. But again, just for mention today, by the time we get to see all of that, is it the office we'll be talking about or the individual?
No, yes, that's a very good question, because if the CJN retires by 26th and he's a party to this suit, how does the suit concern him again? Because
does it affect the rest?
Yes, he wouldn't affect the rest, but he was sued in his capacity, personal capacity, and also as he's the substantive chairman of the MJC and the Chief Justice of the Federation and all those things. So we should all be worried. I think it was a hasty decision on the part of the president, and that's why people are putting imputations. You wouldn't blame some parties saying he was wrong and all those things. But if you look at the whole opinion, there seems to be a consensus that due process and the legalities there were not properly followed.